Hello, everybody. This is Dr. Cole. It's Sunday, April 30th. Now entering week 8 of Political Science 1013 for spring 2023 on the second 8-week schedule. Everyone, we're supposed to be on an 8-week schedule. This is week 8. It looks like I will be able to get in one message for you next week, a week from today, before the final exam, which is coming up on Wednesday and Thursday, the 10th and 11th. So you'll have 48 hours to take it. The format will be the same as the previous exams. Only 2 units will be covered, Units 7 and 8 on the Supreme Court and Congress. It will not be a comprehensive exam. You'll have those 2 units plus 3 articles of outside reading to which we sent you links, and expect 15 or so questions, 10 or 15 on those articles. We're finishing up our Supreme Court unit with a discussion. That discussion began today, Sunday the 30th, and will run through Tuesday the 2nd. So please try to get 2 posts in, one in response to at least one of your classmates, between now and midnight Tuesday. And the discussion topic is the Supreme Court's abortion decision from last year. Do you think the court did the right thing or not? And there's some reading you can do, links to a couple of pro and con articles on that issue in the announcement for discussion number 5 that is up on the course website and went out a few days ago. All right, everybody, we had talked about the class notes for Unit 7 previously. We want to look at Unit 8 on Congress, which will finish the term up for us. The Constitution begins with Congress. The people's elected representatives is the first thing that's discussed in Article 1. Now, there are several things we're trying to accomplish in the class notes for Unit 8. We talk about the kind of people who are represented in Congress. There's so much talk about diversity these days, and Congress has become more diverse. But it is still not a perfect demographic sample of the whole United States population, and we discuss why that might be. Okay, so look out for that. We include a fair amount of discussion of congressional elections, especially elections for the House of Representatives. We often say about politicians that it sometimes seems as though all they care about is getting reelected, and they do care about that. We mention some of the things that members do to try to enhance their reelection chances. Watch out for the terms casework and port barrel. Okay, these both refer to things that members can do to curry favor with their constituents and perhaps increase their chances for getting reelected. In the message that went out called Unit 8 Links, we direct you to Representative Lucas's website. He's the representative for the Panhandle in western Oklahoma, the western half of the state. And when you visit his website, follow my directions. Representative Lucas gives instruction to his constituents on what they need to do if they need to open a casework file. And one thing we have mentioned, I believe, is that it's good to know who your House member is. If you should ever need your House member or that member's staff to intervene on your behalf with some bureaucratic entity of the federal government, because that's what members do as a matter of routine. They have multiple staff devoted to that kind of constituent service and casework. Okay, so that's something you need to be aware of as you get out of school. All right. We then move on to look at Congress inside Washington, D.C., and we say a fair amount about such things as the leadership positions in Congress, such as Speaker of the House of Representatives and other leadership positions. We talk about the committee and subcommittee system in Congress, and also the process by which a bill becomes law. Okay, now, those are important things to know, such as the process by which a bill goes from a subcommittee to a committee to the floor of both the House and Senate before it becomes law. That's all still in place, and it's important to know about. Students should be aware that in the past decade or two, it has been claimed that that whole procedure has sort of broken down. And for many bills, that set of procedures has to be bypassed. The budget would be a good example, and we discussed the budget toward the end of the class notes. Recently, it's been necessary for the leadership of Congress to introduce budget bills directly to the floor of the House and Senate without going through the traditional committee and subcommittee process, what's known as regular order. The reason for that is that traditional procedure depends on members of the two political parties working together. And perhaps they've been less willing to do that with the passage of time because members have grown further and further apart in their political views. At least that's the argument that is made. Okay? So we have liberal Democrats and conservative Republicans, and there's not very much overlap in their views. That makes it hard for them to work together. And very often they arrive at a kind of a stalemate, and regular order has to be bypassed. So that's something students need to be aware of. There's been a change in Congress in the past couple of decades. Now, this is tied to some of the reading we've had you do for the final exam, or we'll have you do, okay, the links that we've sent out to outside readings for the final exam. One of them dealt with proportional representation, which we talked about in our unit on political parties, but we included this article because some people think Congress would work better if it were elected by proportional representation. Okay. The idea being that with proportional representation, we might have fewer extremists. Now, the last thing we're going to have you read is an interview with a member who sometimes is regarded as an extremist. Now, you may not agree. You may find her views congenial, so it's up to you to judge on this. Representative Marjorie Taylor Greene of Georgia spoke recently to 60 Minutes, and the transcript of that is one of your assigned readings. Now, there are people on the other end of the political spectrum who may be the same way. One member who comes to mind is Representative Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, Democrat of New York. So you have AOC and MTG, as they are called. They're known by their initials. Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez and Marjorie Taylor Greene. So read the interview with Representative Greene, see what you think. Does she represent sort of a problem that needs to be solved by maybe a new way of picking members of Congress? Something that is at least worth thinking about. All right, so those are some of the things we're trying to achieve in the Unit 8 class notes about Congress. We'll have more to say next time. We were supposed to have an 8-week term, but we'll call the next message Week 9, and that will be coming up about a week from now before the final exam, which will be coming up on the 10th and 11th. We'll try to say a bit more again about those readings you've been assigned when we talk about the final exam. In the meantime, then, begin looking at that material and the class notes for Unit 8. I hope you will take part in our discussion that is running through Tuesday. So take it easy, study hard, and we'll talk to you one last time a week from now or so before the final exam. Thanks a lot.